Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and to a flip through of a brand new colouring book. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, you know I'm a bit of a D&D nerd and I love tabletop roleplay and fantasy, so of course I had to pre-order this as soon as I saw it was coming out, and it's finally arrived and I'm really excited to flip through it. So this is your standard I really should measure these one day. I think the 30 by 30 or a bit smaller. Same size as sort of Kirby, Square Joanna. The standard size. You'll know the size I'm talking about. It is produced by 10 Speed Press. It is official Wizards of the Coast merchandise. And it's looking really, really cute. I could not see illustrators in this. I believe it could be a collection of illustrators from memory, but I couldn't find it when I did a quick flip through, but maybe we'll find that information as we have a proper flip through. So let's crack this open. So this is actually the second D&D colouring book that I have. I also have Adventures Outlined, which is an older colouring book that's also official D&D colouring, and it's pretty cute. I do like that one too. Lich King, Dungeons & Dragons colouring book, 80 adventurous line drawings. Excellent. Now the paper feels really, really good. It's got a bit of body to it. It is smooth white. The thickness of it actually feels like if you are used to older Kirby books before the change to slightly thinner paper, it feels more like that texture. I feel like this would handle a bit of wet media, not a soaking of the paper, but it would handle a little bit of wet media. It feels like it would handle markers if it's single-sided, and of course your pencils. But yeah, there's definitely a bit of body in that paper, which is lovely. Ooh, I love it. We've got a bunch of different characters, different races, different character classes by the look of it. That's really cool. It's going to be interesting to see if in Adventures Outlined, they focused on classic D&D stories and monsters and some of those Forgotten Realm classic tropes. So it'll be interesting to see if they've taken that same approach or if they're just going to use the monsters and generic fighting poses. Looks like it is also double-sided, so unlike Adventures Outlined, which is mostly a single-sided one, we are going to have double-sided, which means it's not going to be suitable for alcohol markers, which is a shame. Yeah, so this is what makes me think maybe there are different illustrators here, because this is a very different style to this. I'm not as pleased with this page. It feels very like clip art, if that makes sense. Like they just kind of slapped elements on a page. Now with colouring you could bring this together to make it more cohesive, and I could see that, but it feels very at the moment like clip arty. We do have a purple worm. Or it could be a purple worm. It could be any type of worm. It'd be really fun to go through the monster manuals and pick out actual images and use those for references for all of these, which is probably what I'll end up doing. That's cool. So it looks like we've got a lot of double page spreads as well. I find this black outline interesting. Now it obviously makes the characters pop a lot more in this format. However, when it comes to colouring, that's going to be a real pain in the butt to deal with. I'm probably going to have to go over that with a white Posca to help lighten those lines, or make sure that the background is dark enough that that black can be worked into the background a bit, which could be good in like the cave setting. Like you could make that like a light source, like there's light coming through from there, lights coming through with the rays. There could be ways to work it. It's going to be a challenge to work, which I do like those challenge. I really like light and playing with light in colouring books, but it's just going to be one of those things that's going to be interesting to work. I'm still biting my nails. I'm trying. Some of them are growing out. I'm getting some of my long nails back, but I'm still biting a couple of them. We're trying. Oh, that's cool. So it looks like it's just like a sweet scene of a couple of ladies maybe drinking a cup of tea and having a chat, but everything's a mimic. Mimic teapot, mimic tables, mimic chairs, mimic cups, and then there's a chest inside of a mimic chest, and it looks like you're inside the chest looking out, and there's a mimic in a mimic, which I think is very cool. Classic gold pile, treasure chest, hunter. Yeah, and see, again, we've got a very different style here to the last couple that we saw. So I do think there are a couple of illustrators in this. I hope we find out who the illustrators are. I want to be all like, oh, this is this monster. I'm a DM. I am a bit of a D&D nerd, and Pathfinder and a bunch of other tabletop roleplay games. I still blank on a lot of the monster names. I need the information in front of me when I'm DMing. I know that's a gelatinous cube, however, because I love gelatinous cubes. I just think they're hilarious. So, and now it's going to be really fun to play with transparency effects. And then, of course, in the owlbear. Classic owlbear. Looks like we've got some giants on the page, which is very cool, and it's almost like you could pretend that the giants are playing D&D, and this is a mini as well. I'd be almost tempted to put a little base on this and make it like they're playing D&D in the D&D world, which I just think is a hilarious concept. The adventuring party traveling, that could be really fun to colour. Could have real fun with the background and the effects of the forest and stuff, but then also having the characters and all their outfits. Another owlbear. And of course, dragons. I love that. I've been seeing this a lot more in some colouring books lately. I noticed a bit in the Vox Machina and Critical Role one, and in the Witcher one. A lot of the nerdy colouring books that I've been getting lately, where there'll be pictures like this where it is on this tilted angle, and I think it just adds such dynamic interest to the piece in this sort of side angle approach of how you're looking at the page. So yeah, I'm really excited to colour that one. Also, this little frog bard here, right in the center, very cute. It's been a really good chance to practice with a lot of like metals as well for armor and stuff like that. Oh yes, we've got the planar worlds as well, love to see it. See, we do have some classic here, because this is Minsc and Boo, the little hamster in the sky here, Minsc and Boo. Very classic D&D, that. I love that they've included Kenkus as well. Kenkus are really interesting to play. Gosh, that dragon's cool. There's a lot of like double page spreads as well, I'm noticing, which is going to provide interesting challenges. It makes it like, I love detailed pages. Like I love going for these sort of pages, but also sometimes you just want a single side to work on, so a lot of these being double-sided is going to put a lot more like, oh gosh, it's going to take a lot longer to work situations. But also, you know, the detail's fun. I know not everyone's like that. I know a lot of people prefer simpler pages. I prefer the detail. But what about you? Do you prefer a more simple page? Do you prefer a more detailed page? I do have more simpler pages on the go though, because sometimes you do want to break from the detail. So I like to have a detailed one and a simpler one on the go. So yeah, here you can see very clearly the two differences in styles. Some of these lines on this one, like, yeah, I'd be tempted to see if I could cover a lot of that up. It's very, like, I prefer these thinner lines because then you can work the shading, but we do still have those thick black outlines. So that's going to be a little annoying for me to work with how I like to colour, but it's not completely unworkable. It's just going to require a little bit more work. Oh, that's cool. So this will be the Yawning Portal because of the big portal that he's been kicked into here with this big wow. I'm pretty sure this is the Yawning Portal that they've based this on, which is again another very classic D&D adventure story. Quite a handy little book to have too. It's got a number of good little adventures in there from a DM perspective. Now that is Wild Beyond the Witchlight. That's Mr. Witch and Mr. Light. So this is modern lore that as well. This is a semi-recent campaign guide. I say semi-recent, it's not that recent, it's a few years old, but I have run the Wild Beyond the Witchlight campaign, and that is the carriage for the carnival in Mr. Witch and Mr. Light. So that's cool. So they're referencing some of the newer settings as well. At least I think that's a newer setting. I don't believe that was a rework. Some of the campaign modules like Frostwind is a rework of an existing lore setting. Obviously the Witch Beyond the Wild Light, the Wild Beyond the Witchlight, too many W words. Obviously that setting is based in the Fey realm, and that's an existing setting of course, but yeah. And if you're newish to D&D and you're not sure where to start and you do want to run a pre-written module or campaign, The Wild Beyond the Witchlight is a fantastic one. Even just that first chapter with the carnival, it's a really excellent carnival to run for people who are new because there's no combat, but there's a bunch of skill rolling. So it's a really great way to get new players to learn the mechanics of D&D and how to roll and how to look at a character sheet without the pressure of them being in a battle, because you learn about actions and roles and skill checks and how to use your character sheet, but they're just at a carnival having fun. There can be like battles or skill checks and fights in there as well, but Wild Beyond the Witchlight is also written that it can be a non-confrontational campaign, and you can do the whole campaign without going into a fight. So it's a really interesting one, and it's a really good one for newbie DMs, and I've run that carnival multiple times in other campaigns as well, just pulling that carnival out and running the carnival because it's a great little section on its own. Yay! I love to start to see some more representation of curvy warriors, because not all warriors are thin in life, you know? Some of us have meat on our bones. Still means we're strong. That's going to be really fun to do as a fire effect. Like, that is a light source behind. Fire, light, everything glowing from behind with orange, and then darkness around, and you just have these like dragons being lit up by the fire and the heroes in the center. That could be a really fun page. Is that another... It is a double page spread? No, not necessarily actually. So you could just do that one on its own. It could be done as a double page spread in a way. You could bring some of the fire over, but there's a way that you could carry it on if you wanted to turn it into a double. Whoa, okay, so this is a very different style to anything that we've seen so far in it. This is reminding me a lot more of the Adventures Outlined with the super thick dark black lines. Yeah, that one's interesting. Don't think I'm as much of a fan of this one. I wonder if that's meant to be Tasha as well. It wouldn't surprise me. It's still cool. I still like it, but I think the lines are just too thick for me. It's just too comical. Oh, that's quite a simple one, considering everything else we've seen on the page. But that could be a really fun one to practice some metal effects on. Oh, I'm getting some more simpler ones here. That is the Frostwind cover, I think it is. I feel like it's Frostwind with the double-headed giant. feel like it's Frostwind. One of the covers I feel like has this shot on it. I could be wrong, but it feels like it's ringing something in my brain. Like, this looks like one of the D&D, the standard covers, not the deluxe covers, but one of the standard covers. That's Tasha. That is 100% Tasha, and that is the cover to the Tasha's Cauldron. So that's cool. You could actually, they've taken some of the covers as well. I love Tasha's cover, so that's really cool to see. I will have a lot of fun colouring that one for Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Xanthor's Guide to Everything. Xanthor is the beholder, by the way, and I can't remember his pet goldfish, but yeah, he is a pet goldfish. Now that is Vecna, I believe. It's a real interesting story behind Vecna as well. It's Mordecai, classic Mordecai cover. Some really cool images in here. Strahd. So that's cool that they're taking notes from the recent books as well. Which makes sense, because there's some beautiful arts in those books. So, you know, why not take those covers and turn them into colouring pages? Lots of dragons. I love the little shield. That will be really fun to do like a light effect on or a colour effect on. Like having lots of like greys and darks in here with the dragons and the rocks and stuff, but then having this be a contrast colour, that'd really pop. Gosh, there's a lot of images in this book. I mean, it's 80, that's kind of standard as well, but it just feels like a very thick, in-depth book. I don't have every D&D book. In fact, I've stopped buying a lot of them now, so I may be missing some covers or some images, and I don't know all the D&D lore, so there's probably some classics in here that I am still missing as well. More dragons. Gotta love your classic dragons. That'd be fun to practice like sunlight sky or something on, or, you know, those clouds where you do like the yellow light and then the pink and then the blues and purples and peaches, and having that sort of light effect could be really interesting as well, and how that lights the dragon. Now that is a mini. That looks like a mini. I love that. There's quite a few landscapes in here too, which will be, I don't do a lot of landscapey type backgrounds, so that'll be really fun to play with as well. Undead dragon. And there's the last page. There we go. Illustrators. So Cynthia Anesta, Andrea Petro, Galangami Saputra, and Brandy York. I don't know any of those names, unfortunately. But yeah, and we've got the D&D ampersand. And then that is the back cover. So I hope you have enjoyed this flip through of the new Dungeons & Dragons colouring book. Let me know which one was your favourite and which one do you think I should get onto first. I have this problem where like I get these gorgeous books and I flip through them and I talk about all the things I want to do in them and then I never start them. So let me know what page you think I should really get onto, because I do need to get onto a page. I do need to colour in here. I think it's a really neat book. Of course I'm biased because of my love of tabletop roleplay games, but you know. And yeah, let me know if you're thinking of getting this book. I would love to know. And thank you so much for watching, and make sure that you take care of yourself, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!